He's done it again. Lionel Messi and Inter Miami have just beaten FC Dallas on penalties to advance to the quarterfinals of the League Cup. What a match it was. I'm chomping at the bit to get into this, so let's go ahead and get straight into it. G, what is your initial reaction to Inter Miami making the quarterfinals of the League's Cup led by Lionel Messi?
First off, just what an incredible game that was. I think it was the most telling and just the most remarkable game so far of this new Messi-led Inter Miami era, because we learned a lot this game. They obviously Miami go up 1-0 early thanks to Lionel Messi brilliance. Absolute wonderful goal that was by Jordi Alba, his good friend. Then they go exactly into going conceding 3 goals to a 3-1 down. And it looks during the game that this Inter Miami defense is just no good. It's just awful. At times they are quite literally pathetic. It reminds you a lot of that same Inter Miami team. So, that's the same Inter Miami team that was the worst team in MLS last season. That's all. That's still all there. They're all there. They've just been kind of like patching over the cracks a little bit with Messi brilliance, and it's like they can't. There's no way they can get out of this. I mean, it's just hard to beat that level of poor defense, and they're a bit unlucky with an own goal, but then they're able to make it 3-2, and then they immediately go down to 4-2, and it's like, okay, this is it. You're not getting out of this one, and then out of just nothing, it just all resonates from one man, and that's Messi. And that's the thing we always just talked about this team about. There's almost that never quit just because they understand we have that guy and they just don't. That's just as simple as it comes down to. It's not a tactical thing. It's not, any adjustments. It's just simply the team looks at one guy and says, we have him and you guys don't. That's as simple as it is. And there's quite literally no way to defend it because these guys are just not capable of stopping him. Because look, you may be able to stop him from just scoring from open play, but you can't even foul any player near anywhere because quite simply, quite literally, Messi is the greatest free kick taker of all time. It's been so clear for so long, and he's gotten better with age because he's always been spectacular free kicks, but at this, weirdly enough, when he gets older, he tends to almost hone in more on these set pieces that he's almost mastered them. It's like every time he gets one, you just expect it to go in. It's more of a possibility that, he's going to score this more than he's going to miss it. And just that level of, that push, that energy boost that he gives that team led them into the penalty shootout with high confidence. And obviously that helped out a lot, them to squeeze it out. It was still very close, but it's the finest of margins at at this certain level, especially when penalties, because penalties, anybody can win on penalties. There's not really much that goes into it. It's a flip of a coin, but it's confidence is key. And that's what Messi gives this team. That's what the most important thing that he gives this team is confidence. But we learned a lot. There's Inter Miami have bad defense, very, very bad. But I think with more time, obviously new coach, they're going to have time to be able to get a little bit better. Just a little bit, because you don't need a lot when you have that man on your team. You don't need to be the greatest defensive team of all time when you have that man. But it was a spectacular game.
I almost have no words. After watching that game, I quite literally almost have no words. I am sitting here almost speechless. That was an incredible game of football. I just wanted to go ahead and start off by saying that. It was so good, it almost feels scripted. The script writers couldn't have written a better script if they tried. Obviously, I know it's not scripted. The only people who are saying it's scripted is the Ronaldo fans right now. But it almost feels scripted. That is how good it was. I mean, where do you even begin? You start off early on. It's almost been the tale of Inter Miami with Messi so far. Messi scoring early goals. They go up 1-0. And you kind of get the feeling that, obviously, Dallas, they seem to be the best competition that Inter Miami and Messi have played yet. But you just got the sense at that point, okay, Messi, Miami, to go up 1-0. They're going to cruise control like they've done pretty much the rest of the games with Messi. But I have to give credit to FC Dallas. They were the toughest team that Inter Miami and Messi have faced so far. And they put it right to them after that, ultimately going up 2-1 and then going up 3-1 at one point. And you kind of got the feeling like, okay, obviously you still have Messi on the pitch. You can't necessarily count them out. But you just got the feeling that it was a little bit deflated, and you just got the feeling that Miami, they were going to go out. And then obviously they get one back to 3-2, and you're saying, okay, this is it. They're going to go ahead and make the comeback. And then, boom, right back to 4-2 with the Robert Taylor own goal. And you're saying, nah, this is it. There's no way in hell that Miami pulls this one, pulls the rabbit out of the hat. It doesn't matter you have Messi. And then somehow, and I mean, first of all, I don't know exactly what the FC Dallas player was thinking on that free kick own goal. I mean, it was like, you know what? Messi hit the free kick in. Let me just score the own goal. You know what I mean? Let me just do it. You know, I'm a big fan of Messi. Let me just head this in real quick. That's almost what he was thinking. And then the moment. It's almost like as soon as Messi got that free kick, it's 4-3. Messi gets the free kick on the edge of the box. You tell yourself this is going in. You have a feeling. I could feel it. It was went through my entire body. I said, this is going in. I texted it in the group chat. This is going in. And then wouldn't you have it? It goes in. Utterly unbelievable free kick. And it's just, at this point, it's to be expected. When Messi gets a free kick from any area on the pitch, you almost expect it to go in. You don't expect, okay, well, you know, he might make it, he might not make it. No, you literally expect it to go in. You're surprised if he misses. And then later on, I think it was like the 94th minute, basically the last minute of the match, he got a free kick from like, 30 yards out. And we're sitting here thinking, is he going to score this one too? You kind of expected him to find a way to score that one. That's how incredible Messi is at free kicks. It's almost unbelievable how good he is. And it's like you said, he's getting better with them at age. I mean, it's just the way he's been able to hone in on the free kicks, especially recently. I feel like in the last couple of years, he's just gotten better at them and better and better. It's just unbelievable. He's always been a fantastic free kick taker, but I think right now, I don't know if it's MLS goalies or if it's just him really honing in on free kicks, but he's just been unbelievable right now with free kicks. You cannot foul any Inter Miami player at anywhere on the pitch because it's immediately a danger. It's a threat. We've said it before. First, you can make the argument that for Messi, it's easier for him to make free kicks than penalties. We've made that argument before in the past. He struggled with penalties throughout his career, but free kicks, he just seems to always have been brilliant at them. It's quite remarkable. And once it was 4-4 and it went to penalties, you just knew Miami was winning. Look, I'm not going to sit up here and act like this was the perfect Miami performance by any stretch of the imagination because I want to give Dallas credit. A very, very good team, a very difficult side for Miami. And they exposed a lot of the issues that Messi has paved over the cracks so far with this Miami team. Because people are forgetting, because of the fact Messi has been in this team, and it's been, wins so far, people are forgetting that this Miami team is not a really good team. They have issues. Obviously, adding Jordi Alba, Busquets, and Messi pave over a lot of the cracks. But we can't sit up here and act like this Miami defense is still solid. I mean, look what we just witnessed. They're anything but. This team is a liability defensively. This team can be got at. When we get to the later rounds of this competition, the next round, and potentially when they play Tigres in the semifinal, they are going to have their work cut out for them against, higher levels of competition when they ultimately get to a semifinal or a final against a tough Liga MX side, because their defense it's lackluster at best. I mean, that's being generous. And obviously outside of Busquets, sometimes their midfield isn't necessarily the best. I think we saw when they made substitutions in the midfield, I forget the guy's name, the 18-year-old who also scored the winning penalty. He definitely changed the game. I think Campagna went ahead and changed the game. No disrespect to Josef Martinez, but if I'm Tata Martino, I'm thinking about starting Campagna next game because I think he changed the game. And obviously he also scored his penalty as well. But look, Miami, for now, obviously you want to move on to the next round. Look, they are always going to be a threat to win this competition because of purely the fact they have Lionel Messi. That's the reality. It does not matter how bad your defense is because at any given moment, Messi can create a goal. I mean, Dallas is a really good team, really solid in all aspects of the pitch, attack, midfield, and defense. And Miami was able to put up 4 goals on you. If you can score 4 goals, it doesn't matter how bad your defense is, you're going to have a very, very good chance of winning that game. That's the reality. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. Messi and Miami, they can score goals at a high level. The reality is, can they keep it under 3 goals? That's for me. If they can keep teams from scoring 3 goals or less, they have a chance to win every game because of the fact they have Messi. And that's ultimately what it's going to come down to when we get to the later rounds. I expect them to advance to the semifinals because they're either playing, I think, Charlotte or Houston. Miami should be able to take care of either of those 2 teams quite comfortably. But then when we get to the semifinals, I think it's either going to be Tigres or Monterrey from Liga MX. That ultimately could be the toughest game yet. I think that will be the toughest game yet for Inter Miami. Ultimately, I'm not going to count your chickens before they hatch. But all I'm going to say is that this was a phenomenal game. Honestly, one of the best games I've seen so far. Honestly, maybe even since the World Cup final. It was that exciting of a game. I mean, look, obviously there's been some exciting games, but that game, that had me on the edge of my seat. I didn't think I would be sitting on the edge of my seat for an MLS game or Leagues Cup game. Have that. And I was. It was an incredible game, and you know I'm excited to see what happens next in this Inter Miami chapter with Lionel Messi. But it wasn't the perfect game, but ultimately they were able to get the job done, and ultimately, you know, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just them showing that ability to come back basically from 3-1 and from 4-2 down when it looked like it was just it's like all the fairy tale has ended, you know. Messi can only take you really so far because
Mm-hmm.
he can't defend, he can't be in goal, he can't do everything. But it's just that aura of, like I said, we have that guy, you guys just don't have him. And you know, you'd hope that over time it's still a new system they are trying to, you know, you got to understand that everything is changing. Jordi Alba just joined the team. This is the first game he
This is first
started.
starting, yeah.
So, but I think the main thing, I mean, we can all agree with is that they need a proper center back. You know, obviously they have like what they still have that one spot, right? The sign a European player, is it
I
or
believe so because they were trying to sign Luis Suarez, so I believe they wouldn't
yeah,
have been able to even attempt to make that signing if they didn't have one more spot available. So I think they do have that
yeah.
spot available.
So it you know, if you're not gonna get Luis Suarez, there's a name that's been thrown out, Sergio Ramos, that I think that would be the perfect fit. I think it's a better fit than even what Suarez would be, because I think Inter Miami's problem isn't that they can't score. I mean, that's quite literally what we saw. They're able to score four. Most of it
They
comes
can
from
score for
Messi, but
fun.
yeah, they score easy because you just have that guy. Messi makes you know, Taylor look like Neymar, so it's like it's not that difficult. It's just the defense, because as great as Jordi Alba is, it's hard to make a true impact being a fullback because you're not at the heart.
Yeah.
Like you have Busquets, a guy who's perfect for that midfield, but you need the heart of your defense. And I think someone like a Sergio Ramos would be perfect for that because he's a captain. He's been the captain of Spain. He's been the captain of Madrid over so and it has basically won everything possible, you know, at club and national level. So that's just the perfect guy to have because look, I like Miami's goalkeeper. Is not bad. Calendar's not bad.
Calendar, yeah,
You
solid.
know, he's solid. You don't need to essentially, like, you know, spurge out for like when other names thrown out was like a David De Gea. You don't necessarily need that. You
No.
need just a leader of the back because you have to think of it as, you know, like because you want to have that a mix of veteran and young players. They just signed a lot of young Argentinian players that will be good, you know, especially in this Messi era. But you
Mm-hmm.
have to have that one leader in defense, the leader in the midfield, and then obviously the whole captain, the whole glue, Messi. That's what's really gonna make this team be, you know, actual like contenders in what is, you know, what looks to be the main jewel is the Copa Libertadores.
If they're
That's the
able
main
to,
thing,
yeah,
and I think if they get a Sergio Ramos, they could realistically compete in that.
next
Like,
season.
that's a real possibility next season, a real big possibility. I think as of right now, they could probably get by winning the cups that they're in now, every competition they're in now without it. But if we're talking about real change and real, you know, real noise, because look, the Copa Libertadores is legit. It's as legit as it gets. It is the Champions League of South America. That's no
And
slouch.
and obviously, up until next season, there has never been North American teams in that competition.
Ever.
It's
Because
only been South America,
yeah,
and now they're allowing North American teams to compete in it purely because of the fact Messi is now in
because Messi is
MLS. It's
there,
kind of
and
crazy, but
everybody wants to see that. But
everyone wants to see
that
that.
that if they really want to make that, you know, not basically a gag or a side, oh, it's only in it because Messi's here. That's the real change because by the time then you're gonna have, you know, be able to integrate and have a true system, and you'll be able to have that backbone. I think that's the realistic next step, but not to get too long-winded of the future. We're talking about this
Yeah,
game now. It's a great performance. I think I do agree with you. I think they're going to get by Charlotte, or would you say it's
Houston.
either Charlotte or Houston. I think that's really kind of fodder or whatever. I'm thinking
I
they're
think
going to be
I think
better
Dallas
than.
is better than both of those teams.
Yeah, yeah. I think the real challenge is what a lot of people are looking forward to is the possible Tigres, because there are, I
Tigres
think,
or
one of the
Monterrey. Those are
it's
both
or Monterrey,
they play each other in this round, round of 16. So or the quarterfinals, I mean.
the
So
quarterfinals.
whoever advances through that ultimately is going to be, you
And
know,
that's gonna be I mean, that's gonna be real. I'm really excited to see that because obviously it's, you know, a different league. It's not an MLS team, because not to slouch on the MLS so much, but you know the Mexican league is tougher. It's just these better
yeah.
players.
Well, the high end of the Mexican league, Liga MX, is better than the highest
Yeah,
in MLS. That's purely because of the fact that MLS has the salary cap and they have special rules that don't allow you to sign unlimited players. And Liga
yeah,
MX, the best clubs, the clubs that have the most money in Liga MX, they can sign anybody. There's no rules. There's no salary cap or anything like
Salary
that.
cap, yeah.
So I saw a statistic and it was basically saying how a club like Tigres, if they were in MLS, they would have to sell 7 of their best players just to be able to play in the league because of the fact the rules in MLS are what they are. And ultimately, that brings up a whole other can of worms that MLS needs to change these rules if they really want to compete at the highest level. If we're
At the
talking
world
about
level, yeah.
we're talking about consistently being able to beat the likes of Tigres and other Club America, other Liga MX teams. And then now, if they are going to have MLS clubs play in the Copa Libertadores, they have to be able to
change it.
they have to change it because there's no way you can compete with South American clubs that are already better than you anyway right now with these rules that are in place right now. But that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day because that's a debate that's been roaring all over social media, especially now that Messi has joined Inter Miami. And we know that they are taking the steps to go forward as a league now because you have to take advantage of this Messi era. But like I said, it's a whole other can of worms. I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying because as of what we just saw today, Miami's clear issue is the defense. I mean, there's no denying it now. Everyone knows that this Inter Miami team can be scored on quite easily. I mean, the counterattack in any way, shape, or form, this team can be got at. They can be scored on. And it's just, can you stop Messi enough times to where you can win a 3-2 game, win a 4-3 game, because that's the way you're going to beat Inter Miami. It's going to be high scoring. You have to keep up with them. And ultimately, it's easier to do that when you're playing against this Miami defense because basically it's just not good. If they're able to sign a guy like Sergio Ramos, and I think they could ultimately get that signing done soon if they're able to do it, that's the signing they need to make because I'm not going to go ahead and talk about the Copa Libertadores in the future. I'm just going to say for the competition they're in right now, they need Sergio Ramos. They might be able to go on and win their competitions that they're in without him. But if they get him, that immediately fixes up their biggest problem and makes them a much more balanced team. And now you're sitting there, you're saying, Miami's going to be hard to score on. They're going to be led by Sergio Ramos, captain, leader, legend, a guy who's won it all, who's done it all. Still, last season for PSG, played some of his best. He was one of their best players in the Champions League, remember? He was playing key minutes in the Champions League, and we were sitting here saying Sergio Ramos, at his age, looked like one of the best players in the pitch.
It was against Bayern Munich, yeah.
Against Bayern Munich. So this is how good this guy still is. You see, look, class is permanent. It's the reality of the situation. He's going to be next to Jordi Alba. He's going to be with Sergio Busquets. Right, they're going to be playing.
Yeah, that international teammates. Yeah,
you know what I mean. They have the chemistry, and obviously Messi. That Miami team, if you get Sergio Ramos, we're talking about a team that will be the favorites to win every competition by a long shot because there is no holes in the team anymore. Ramos is going to make the defense so much better. They have Jordi Alba, who has already made such a big impact this game. We saw 2 assists. He has been a demon up that left flank. I mean, the right back for Dallas is going to have nightmares tonight, thinking about Jordi Alba cooking him all night. And then obviously you have Busquets, who makes the midfield that much better. We all know how good Busquets is. And then I don't even have to say anything about Messi. He just is what he is. At the bare minimum, he's a top 3 player in the world still right now, playing at the Leagues Cup, playing in MLS. I would still make the argument he's the best player in the world right now, above a Kylian Mbappe, above a Erling Haaland. I would still say that based on what I'm seeing. It's just this Miami team, if they get Sergio Ramos, that ultimately puts them over the top to where they're going to win every competition. It's not even going to be fair. And I think that they have a realistic chance to make that happen. And I agree with you. They're talking about they could get Suarez next transfer window. But you can get Sergio Ramos right now. You know what I mean? Do they need a Luis Suarez next transfer window? I don't think so. You need Sergio Ramos.
Yeah.
If I'm picking between Luis Suarez and Sergio Ramos, give me Sergio Ramos for this Miami team. I know, he's best boys with Messi. You want to bring back the Barca teammates, all of that. It's cool.
Suarez can't defend, bro.
Suarez isn't going to help you defend. This Miami team has no issue scoring goals. They are lethal in attack. They need help on the defensive side of the ball. And if they're able to bring in Sergio Ramos, this team will be scary. I think we're talking about the best team in MLS history. I mean, quite literally, you get Sergio Ramos as the best team in MLS history.
Yeah, and obviously with the league still being, it's what would probably be infancy. That's not a lot said, but I think the real talk will be next season when they're in those bigger competitions. But as of right now, it looks like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, next season Miami's going to have the chance to really put their name out there when they play in the CONCACAF Champions League, which is the biggest competition in North America. And then I don't exactly know how it's going to work with the Copa Libertadores, how the qualifying is going to work, if they're really even going to be in it or not. I don't really know how it's going to work. They haven't really announced much. But if they are able to play in that, look, I don't think they're going to win it because South America is here and North America is here in terms of football.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But if you get a Sergio Ramos, I think it makes you where you're a little bit more competitive. That's what I'll say. I don't know if I'm willing to say that they're going to be one of the favorites by any stretch. Like Messi is good, but I don't know if he can do all that.
But I mean, it's Messi though. It's just look. I don't know. Like you said, nothing's confirmed yet with all that. It's kind of almost a pipe dream at the moment, just because we've always kind of wanted to see Messi in that
competition,
in that competition. But I think it with the Sergio Ramos would be close. I think it'd be pretty close.
Well, what we exposed today with the Dallas game is that a well-balanced team right now can, become very close to potentially even beat Inter Miami. A well-balanced team like FC Dallas. Dallas is a good team in attack. They're a solid team in midfield, a solid team in defense with a solid goalkeeper. They're just a well-balanced team. A well-balanced team can beat Inter Miami. Dallas didn't beat them today, but they were right there on the verge. They very easily could have done it. It's penalties at the end of the day. It can go 50-50. Dallas was a very good team. They had Inter Miami on the ropes. So if we're talking about a South American team, let's just pick any of them.
As of right now, yeah, they would.
They're not only more balanced, but they're just better. I mean, look, Messi would be the best player on Palmeiras, for example, or whatever. But beyond that, the rest of Palmeiras' team is better than anyone on Inter Miami. I mean, Sergio Busquets is still class, but at this point in his career, Jordi Alba at this point in his career, I think it's a whole other conversation for a whole other day when maybe they announce more information on that. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, Messi is Messi, but Copa Libertadores is the Copa Libertadores. I mean, it's a whole other can of worms. It's a whole other animal. It's a whole other beast. I'm not counting Miami out because I don't know exactly what's going to happen from now and then with signings and the way the rules are going to change. If they're going to be able to make some other star-studded signings, maybe, they will be able to compete. But as of right now, with the Sergio Ramos, I don't think they would compete to win it, at least. But like I said, we'll get into that. Look, first of all, I think they need to focus on winning the Leagues Cup. First of all, they got to focus on winning that.
I can't help but look ahead.
Well, I think that's the thing. When you have this Messi era, it's impossible not to look ahead. You get excited because, I mean, there hasn't been this much hype, this much energy around, the MLS, the Leagues Cup, whatever competition for football in America ever. It's never been like this. I mean, you look on your calendar. When is Inter Miami playing again? It's never been like that. Like MLS, it has never been at this level. So many eyeballs are watching it. Everyone is tuning in because of Lionel Messi, and it's impossible not to look forward and get excited for potentially playing in CONCACAF Champions League, potentially playing in the Copa Libertadores, something everyone has always wanted Messi to do, and he's never been able to do it, and potentially now he will have the chance. It's impossible not to get excited and look ahead. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
But look, obviously, as of right now, we do not know who exactly Inter Miami is playing. It's either going to be Houston or Charlotte. As of right now, when we're making the video, we don't know. They haven't played the match yet. But do you think Inter Miami will win against whoever does come out of that matchup? Do you think they'll go ahead and make the semifinals? Look, I ultimately think they will. But until we get the matchup, who knows? Until they play the match, who knows? As we saw today against FC Dallas, it's not going to be easy. I think it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be an exciting game. And, ultimately, we'll have to see if they can get the job done. So let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this match. Do you think Inter Miami can still go on and win the Leagues Cup? Let us know in the comments down below. What did you think of Jordi Alba's debut or his first official start? Obviously, 2 assists. Let us know in the comments down below. And I think without further ado, we can go ahead and get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
So I'm Zach.
I'm G.
And we'll see you next time for another video on the channel. Peace.